All right, guys, we're back. Day 3, part 2. We just went and checked out some other creeks, never had a bite. We gave this area a little bit of break, so we're gonna come back in there. I'm gonna try one more time to go through this area and see if I can catch some fish. I believe I'll catch some. I know that part. There's still that thought like, okay, I still think I need some more though. I still think I need something else to go along with this if I really want to catch a bigger bag. But I'm gonna go through this one more time. If I go through this whole area one more time, then I'll be able to figure out what I want to do after that, depending on what happens. So I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna pick it apart one last time, see if I can cull up any, and then we'll go from there. We'll make a decision on what we want to do. Do we want to go stay here and really milk it, or do we want to go find some new fish once again? If I come back in here, I'm going to start on that spot, even though I haven't really caught a fish in that area. I start back, same deal, just like I started in the morning. I'm gonna hit it just like I am in the morning. I'm gonna tweak a couple things though, just a couple. I'm gonna fish here. I'm gonna work my way down this shoreline, just like I did this morning. Remember I told y'all there was a boat in the back? It was still further back there. I don't want to go as far back as that boat was. But like I said, I didn't feel like pressuring them at the time. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think there were that many fish back there. I catch a lot bigger fish towards the main lake than I do back in the creek, especially in January in 47-degree water. But I'm like, I could go maybe another 30 yards, maybe 25, 30 yards. That'll be a little bit of extra new water. And we'll check that out. Throw a couple little baits, but probably I'm gonna stay with the Thunder Cricket. It seems to be working. I'm getting bit on it. I have confidence in it right now. You know how it just feels right in your hand? It just felt right in my hand. Like it felt like they were gonna bite it.
Hold on. Here. Good job, man.
So I got all the way in the back and I went about 25 yards further. As I'm coming out, I catch that one. I was like, oh, okay. Couple things. It was further back. It was maybe like 15 yards further than my other fish. I know that's not a lot, but I was like, okay, I can maybe go a little bit further. It was closer to the bushes. That was interesting. Now, in a lot of these, the bushes and the hay grass and the hydrilla, they all grow differently depending on where you're at in the creek. So the creek's skinnier at that point, so there's not as much hydrilla that flattens out. So I was like, that makes more sense that it's closer to the bushes. I get that part, but either way, did she come out of the bushes? Did she come out of the hay grass? Did she come out of the hydrilla? Either way, it's something to go off of a little bit more. So I'm gonna keep fishing. There's the other side of this creek, because this creek is kind of like, it's set up into two sections. I haven't really been back there. So I'm like, hey, let's go over there now. I'm gonna fish all this way out, but let's go over there and see what happens. So we get on this other side and I fish it thoroughly. Like, I mean, I'm breaking it apart. I fish all the way to the back. I'm going, okay, like this, I feel confident that I'm hitting it all right. I'm not saying I'm confident in catching a fish. I'm not confident that I'm gonna catch a fish, but I'm gonna hit it thoroughly enough to where I'm like, okay, if it is back there, I'll catch it. If not, I'll just keep moving on. I'll fish this spot out here at the very end, and then I'll make a decision. As I'm coming out, my conger catches one, a good one, like 1/4. and I saw where it hit. I'm kind of close to the bank. And I was like, okay, well, there was some fish back here. I hadn't fished back here. And I was going, oh, okay, I'm not going to slow down any. I'm already going slow. But I was like, oh, it just made me realize, yeah, there was one more fish, and a big one. A big one. It was a good one. It was over 4.
I got you.
It ain't big. They're gonna pull that one, man.
Huh?
If it ain't big, they're gonna pull that one.
Good job, man.
Instantly, I catch one. Like right after I catch one. I'm going, oh, okay, dang it. I missed this morning. That's all right. I missed it, but hey, I'm still getting bit. Plus, it's that time of the day where they start biting again. Remember I told y'all that there's a lull? There's always a lull. And usually around this time, it's getting around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. That's when they start to bite again. And it could be that, it could be where I'm at. It really doesn't matter to me. I think I'm gonna get dialed in real quick. So right after that, I get up to where I caught him yesterday. I caught one the other day on a jerk bait, a little bit different, but I'm back in that little area, that little sweet spot. And I'm making a couple mental notes. One, I'm throwing a little bit closer to the bushes. Now there's hay grass up there, so it doesn't come through that hay grass very well, but sometimes it's sparse hay grass. So I can kind of almost get away with it. Right, I don't really want to mess up my cast and get hung up, because usually if you get hung up on hay grass, it rips it out. It's not really what I want. But I'm really looking up there in the bushes and going, is there hay grass up there? Can I make a cast? Because the hay's under the water, barely. So I'm paying attention to that.
That might be a big fish.
I hope so.
It is.
I hope so.
It's a good one though.
Alright.
It ain't as big as our two. It's still a lot bigger.
Here. There he is.
I mean, it's my second biggest
Yeah,
one.
yeah, exactly.
I'll take it. Man, they're way up. How close did yours come to them trees and bushes?
Not far.
Dude, that one was out of hay grass.
Yeah.
I haven't caught one out of the hay grass
You
yet.
were moving. I'm like, okay, I was just.
I know, but I'm just saying,
But
like,
it was off a little bit.
that one was not.
So that happened quick. Caught my second biggest one of the day. I was going, okay, man, that like we just hit a little run of them. Now, decision time. I'm a giant, yeah, if y'all know me, I'm a giant swim jig guy. I'm not a giant swim jig guy in January in 47-degree water. I don't really most of the time you're fishing really open water this time of the year, kind of like what we've been doing. The water's up a little bit, and I'm like, man, these fish are almost in the bushes, almost in the hay grass. The spinnerbait seems, it's kind of clear water, it doesn't seem right. There's not enough wind. The swim jig doesn't seem right. However, I will say this about the swim jig. This time of the year, if you can get a bite on it, it's more like a swim bait and not a swim jig. And if you can get a bite on it, it's a big one. I know that for a fact. It will be a big one. So I'm going, okay. I don't even have a swim jig tied on, but I got my rod. The rod that I was Carolina rigging with yesterday, I shouldn't have been Carolina rigging with. It did its job, but I was like, I got that rod and I've got my swim jig in here. Let me just rig it back up again and go down that one section one more time. Here's my thought. If I get a bite or I catch one down this bank, I'm gonna go to the other bank where I just came from. Where I caught the 6-pounder, where I caught the other one, I'll catch some down that too, because maybe I need to throw in those bushes and that hay grass a little bit, like maybe more into it. And that swim jig won't get hung up. I don't think it's as good, but if I get a bite, it's a big one. So time to rig up again, right? Always rigging up. I swear, like it's not a good tournament if I'm not rigging up randomly through the day because I have an idea, I have a feeling, right? It's that feeling you get, man. It's just, this is what I think fishing is about. So I'm gonna rig it up and see if it works.
Feel like I'm in LA.
God, that's that grass.
That was the bite. It was a bite. It knocked slack in it. Never felt her. Sometimes that's what happens with a swim jig when it gets like this. Do I believe it's a big one? Usually when they knock slack in it, it is. But it didn't bite it. I went down the whole stretch. Didn't catch anything. Now we're gonna make another decision. I said, yes, I went through here and got bit. Sometimes when you do that, I feel like I could probably go through this area one more time and catch one more fish. One more. I don't think one more is enough. I don't. So I'm like, I got a decent little bag going. I mean, if I really want to make some noise, I don't think anything spectacular is going to happen in this creek. I just don't. I think I've milked it for all it's worth. And so I'm like, let's make a move. I went to another creek yesterday, didn't catch anything. The grass looked okay in there. We're just gonna hit a different section in there. There's another section, there was a boat kind of, sort of in the way, and so I didn't fish it. So I was like, let's go over there, and let's just go down it. I'm gonna start a lot earlier than where I normally would, but I wanna see, I don't know if there's grass where I'm gonna start, but I'm hoping there is. We're gonna go down it. So let's make a move.
Nice, dude.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. God, I wish I did that. I'm wondering if I should change baits, you know what I mean? See, he was out further, wasn't he?
No, he's right on that edge.
So, good sign. I catch one. It's not a big one, but it was on a little point with some hydrilla. There was a little hay grass there. I'm like, perfect. This is what I've been doing. This makes sense to me. Let's keep going. I haven't got to really where I want to fish yet, but I'm just kind of checking it out because I don't know. Maybe there are out here, but I've got this little pocket up here. We're gonna hit the outside of the pocket. We're gonna hit the inside of the pocket. We're gonna hit everything, and I feel like, man, this is a place where I still can catch a big one. That's what I'm hunting right now, is a big one. Fish for another 30 minutes, finally get another bite. I'm back in the pocket.
Net.
Maybe. I don't know yet. No.
Wasn't a big one. Well, like I said, that's okay. Still 2. You know, now I'm getting bit in another creek. Remember, I didn't get bit in the other creeks I went into. So at least this one has them. Don't really care that they're small. I know this time of the year, you can catch 3 or 4 small ones and then catch a 7-pounder. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about getting bit. That's more important to me than what size they are. So at least the grass is in here. Even though it's not great, it's not as good as the other creek, but I am still getting bit. So as I'm coming out of this little pocket, I'm getting towards the end of it forever, which is funny. I always look down. I can't fish shallow without having a depth finder on. I always use the depth finder to look at the grass, to see how the grass grew, things like that. Kind of do the same thing with live scope. I'm never looking for fish. People ask me, are you looking for fish in the grass? No, I'm just looking at the grass. I've always read the grass off of 2D sonar. So it's impossible, like I said, for me to go down the bank without having a 2D sonar on, looking at grass. I kind of use live scope as the same thing. It's no different. However, every once in a while when I do pan out, I saw something, I'm like, man, okay, that's a fish. It's not deep. It's not in the grass. They're just kind of hanging out there, like 2 or 3 of them. Let's try it over here. I've only caught like 1 fish. I've caught 1 on day 1 doing this, and I caught a small one on day 2 doing this. Most of all the other fish that I've seen out there have been very spooky, but hey, I'm in a new area. Let's try it.
Whoa. Can you open it up? I'm sorry.
Got one.
Can you get the power pole? My pole's in there. My rod's snapped up. Extend it.
It's a big one too.
Okay, I got you.
You must have had it back there like.
It was just laying down.
Yeah.
So what was crazy is I did see 2 or 3 out there. When I threw out there, there was like 1 or 2 more came up underneath those 3 and ate my jerkbait. I didn't even watch it because I guess my co-angler had his rods out there by the power pole. I'm not really sure. I think he had all his rods out there all over the back deck, and I guess it got hung up in the power pole. So at the time I was trying to get my power pole, I think back up. I can't remember. I think it was back up so it would get untangled. So anyways, I was like, oh, I got one too. So he came up there and netted it, went back there, got his pole. And I was like, man, that was a pretty good one. Like, that's a 3-pounder. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that'll work. Like, I've only got like 20, 30 minutes left in the tournament. Should I just go do this for the rest of the day? I mean, or just right in this one little area? Because I saw more of them out there. Now, it takes me a while to cull and do some things. So I got to cull. I got to get my jerkbait out of the net. It's going to be a while. I'm not worried about those fish I saw. There was, 3 or 4 of them. But let's just take a couple minutes, look around, see if I can see anything. So I'm throwing my jerkbait around. I've had some look at it. I'm seeing a couple, and I'm like, all right, I don't know, let's just try something else real quick. Throw my Alabama rig, even though I haven't really thrown that yet. I threw it a little bit on day 1. Didn't throw it all on day 2. Basically never caught a fish on it today. I don't even think I've picked it up today.
Are there a lot of fish out here right now?
I'm just seeing, I mean, they're trying to eat.
So another 3-pounder. I culled another 3/4 of a pound probably, right? So I'm like, all right, well, cool. That 2 3-pounders really quick. I will say, I stayed in here. I saw a couple fish, quite a few fish to be honest with you. There was one big one I threw at. One big one that absolutely knocked slack all of my Alabama rig. Remember in the MLF tournaments, we can only have, we have rules with the Alabama rig. You can only have like 4 or 5 blades. Can't remember what it is. I only had 4. And then you can have 5 baits, 3 hooks. So you have some dummy baits in there. Like you got baits in there with no hooks. Maybe it hit the rig itself. Maybe it hit one of those dummy baits. But yeah, that was the only one. That was the only one that was like, oh man. Other than that, close to time to leave. Like it was blowing out there really hard.
It'll be a rough ride back.
You can't tell, but it's blowing hard, and I was going, okay, I got to get back. I've got a pretty good bag. My Collinger's got a decent little bag for day 3. He's going to move up. And I'm like, let's get back. Make sure we give ourselves enough time. So we're going to head back 5 to 8 minutes earlier than what I normally would, just in case it gets like rough. I don't want to just like be out there trying to like haul it right in these big waves if I don't have to. So we left these fish. I would have loved to have stayed here longer. On another note, you know, it's weird making these videos. It is, in the sense of, you got a lot of guys loving the fact that I'm not live scoping, and then you got other guys that will watch me live scope here at the end, and they'll be like, I can't believe you sold out, or why didn't you do this longer? Look, man, if I'd have known these fish were here, I probably would have. Guess what? No one else knew they were here either. It's not always easy finding some of these fish. These fish might not have been there until today, maybe till this afternoon. I don't know. Like I said, I don't mind doing a little bit of both. It's a tournament. Regardless of whether you like it or not, it was the way to win. Like I said, if I'd have known this, I might have done this more. Just didn't know about it. No one else did. But either way, I was happy. I got a chance to cull 2 more times, caught some more fish. The decision, I left. I left some fish, found some new fish very quickly, and culled. Like I said, don't be afraid of the old saying. Don't be afraid of going, hey, don't leave fish to find fish. I'm telling you, I do it all the time. You have to sometimes. Now, we're headed back to wait. Back away in. Parked next to my buddy Chris McCall. He's on the left. Marbut is on the right. If y'all don't know who that is, younger guy. Just won the Toyota Championship this past year on Wheeler. Has won some other things lately. He's got a full schedule. Me and him talked a little bit about like what he was doing this year and stuff like that. He did very good in the event. And I ended up weighing 18 pounds, 18.1 or something like that. Moved from 22nd all the way to 14th. It was a good week. My weights got better every single day. I think I was figuring them out better every single day. I figured that would probably have to happen since I didn't fish like this in practice, right? So I am glad that as I kept doing it, I kept getting more dialed in. I will go into a couple things after this. I'm going to go over all my setups. Like each day I'm going to pick up setup over the next couple of days. So I'm going to do the red eye setup, the hybrid hunter setup, the thunder cricket setup, some of the stuff out deep that I live scope, whatever it might be. I'm gonna do that and fill you in on everything like that. I'm also going to do, I believe I am, I haven't done it yet because it takes a lot of time, but I think I'm going to try to get this in as well, is a whole fish tips thing about this event. And that, since you already know most of the fish catches and things like that, I'm gonna go into a deeper dive into the grass I was looking at, the creeks I was looking at, why I chose the creeks, why I chose some of the live scope stuff, why I chose all of that, why I chose to leave certain places, what did I look for when I left, what was I hunting for when I was looking in the grass, the bush, all these things. All that was very, very important. And if you notice, it was so important. It was because I was dialing it in, and I was getting better as the day went on, and as the tournament went on. I'll explain too why I changed, why I caught them on different baits every day. There was a reason. A lot of that's weather related, all kinds of things, the grass related. I'm gonna try to do a whole deep dive into that. That is going to be a very, very in-depth exclusive that I'm gonna probably do with fish tips, and then you can kind of see what areas I was in, things like that. So if you do, check that out at fishtips.com. And I've got some other videos on there as well that I've done on Rayburn that I think, like I said, if you look at them, I've done previews on them. They are 1.5 hours long. They're the most in-depth videos I've ever done. So if you want to check those out on Rayburn, check them out. Got one in there on Nakanich that is like killer. But I hope you all enjoy the series. Stay tuned. Hopefully I got some more stuff coming up soon. All right. See you guys.